I'm popping on here because I wanted to talk about permission. And so, what has happened, y'all, is I have realized something that was so close to me. I am so excited, trying to contain myself. But we actually closed on our first house, my husband and I. And so, it's been like a journey. I don't know if you've done that process, but that process can be brutal. So through the process, I had to give myself permission to do a lot of things. And so I want to start off and just share what the word permission means. Okay. All right. So the definition for the word permission, and I have some notes, y'all. It's a noun that generally refers to the act of giving consent or authorization to someone to do something. So I'm going to break it down a little bit. They did. It said consent or authorization. So the approval or allowance granted by someone in authority for an action. So an example that they give is she gave her permission for her child to go on the field trip. The second definition is official approval. So the formal or legal consent required for certain activities. An example of this would be you need permission from the city council to build on that land. A lot of times, I'm going to go into just a little bit about how we use it. Um, may I borrow your pen? Do I have your permission? Used in legal and technical, the construction company received permission to begin work on the project. We were getting ready to build a home, and so we had to get permits, which is another variation of the word permission. So we had to get permits that gave us permission in order to be able to build on the land and do the things that required us to do for the property. Um, Another example they gave was you must have administrative positions, permissions to install this software. And so typically you'll find that a lot of times on computer systems, especially if you're working on a job and they have only allowed certain people with permissions to access certain parts of the technology. And so that is just a short definition on permission. And I want to talk a little bit about that because that has been something that I have been working with for probably about all of this year and part of last year. I got this revelation, this download that um, I didn't need permission. And so what it did for me was I started really kind of diving into it. I started diving into it with my spirit team. I started studying and going and doing some research and looking up things. And this is how I came across these definitions because typically that's a part of my journey. I go through and if I get something downloaded, then I start doing the research. I start going on Google. I started going to books that I have or that I know of. I start going on YouTube and I do research about this particular thing. And so this permission came to me because I was in a space where I thought that I had to do certain things. I thought that I was bound to do certain things. Like I thought that I was bound to work like I had been working for decades to continue. I thought that this was my life and this was what I had to do. I had to give myself permission. And a part of it for me was that I started just getting sick. Like every time I worked someplace, I would start just getting sick. Just little things, started off with, and then it grew into larger things. And so I guess the more that I ignored it, the more that I tried to um, push it down, the more it repress it, the more that I tried to just not even think about it and not bring it into my awareness, the more it came into my awareness. And so when I got to this point where I said, you know what, I can give myself permission. I don't have to have permission. Now, that word, when you think about it, people in my culture had to have permission to do almost anything, because I'm a descendant of slaves. And so when somebody is enslaved, then their approval is not even their own. Permission has to come from whoever owns them. If you could own people, but at those times, that's how that was. You had to have permission to go to the bathroom. You had to have permission to eat. You had to have permission to do basic human rights and things. And so now we are at a place now where, especially for women and for Black and brown people, that we are recognizing that we don't need anybody's permission. We don't need permission to be, do, or have anything. We have the permission within each and every one of us. We give our approval for things, and we also allow ourselves to be in this state where we are not we are not standing up for ourselves and giving ourselves these positions. It's like we allow ourselves to be in that space. However, there are so many things that go with that. Like, we had so much trauma in our past and in our lives, and a lot of us past lives even had trauma, and even in the life that we have now. And so when we decide and we stand up and we give our consent to ourselves, because that really is what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about somebody allowing you to do something that has control over your body. I'm talking about you allowing yourself, and so for many years, especially Black women have been so abused, so abused. However, Black women have been a staple in the world. Black women have changed lives. Black women have given life. Black women used to be the ones that they used to use to suckle the babies. They go get a Black woman that had a baby, and she could, nurse the babies and stuff like that. And so that was in that time. However, it seems to always be that way. And so what we have to do is give ourselves our own permission to be whoever we desire to be. Give ourselves permission to not be. And so for me, I had to give myself permission to release that I was a nurse working on the floors, because God was pulling me away from that so hard, and I was struggling to hold on. And so I had to give myself permission to release that identity. And so it happens for so many of us, that we have to give ourselves permission. Sometimes we wait on other people. It's because we have been conditioned to wait on people to give us permission. And I'm saying this not only as a woman, but as a Black woman in America whose family were slaves. And so we have had this thing coming through where, there's always somebody that we have to ask permission for. Even some of these jobs, I worked a job where you had to ask permission to go to the bathroom, and then they watched you, your time when you went to the bathroom. To me, I had to get out of there because that felt like slavery, and I've not experienced that, and so I'm not trying to. And I also know that my mouth, I was not going to last in that, because I could see myself now. Well, suppose you have, extra things to do when you go to the bathroom. That it doesn't take you 3 minutes to pee and wipe and get up and wash your hands. You know what I'm saying? And so when you get to that place, you realize that you have to give yourself the permission. And don't worry about what anybody else says. That is another thing. That's another place that I had to get to. I had to not realize and not think about and not care about what other people felt like about me giving myself permission to be, to do, to have. About me giving myself permission, about me giving myself permission to be me. I hope y'all are picking up what I'm putting down, because this thing came to me so strongly, where it's like, we're always sitting around waiting for somebody to give us permission to grow, permission to be a business owner, permission to write a book, permission to do whatever. And a lot of times it's things that come to block us from having what we desire. It's things that come to block us from knowing that we are enough, giving ourselves permission to be enough and not too much, as people have said. I've heard this before in my life. You're too much, not too much, but knowing that you're enough. Because so many times we're sitting around here and we are waiting for somebody else to give us opportunity when the opportunities are right here, right for the taking for us. And we don't need permission from anybody else. We don't need it. We do not need it. You have it within you. You have your own approval over your body, over your mind, over your soul, over your spirit, over whatever. So that's what I have for today, y'all. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me today. It's been always a pleasure. I'll be back on again, probably not tomorrow. I am actually in the process of packing and moving. So we're going to be packing tonight and probably tomorrow too. So I will probably see you guys over the weekend. I'll come live probably over the weekend after I get everything moved in, just to let you know. Oh, all right. But I hope that, landed for you. And I appreciate you. Thank you for joining Home Slice and Feel It Show. I thank you. And I hope that your day is magical and that everything is working out for you, because that is my prayer for each and every person that watches me, that comes into my community. Thank you for being here. Like, share, and subscribe. Let some people know that we're here. Make sure that you look in the description of the video and check out my links. I have Amazon links. I am an affiliate, so I do get a small commission, but I would love it if you would check out those products. I have products that I actually use. Most of them are products that I love. So I have the links in there, as well as my very own book, Walking Away. You can get your copy right there on Amazon. I also have my stand store. Make sure that you check that out. There are free resources as well as paid resources in there. I have my forgiveness letter that is phenomenal. And of course, it is something that just came to me, and I actually have done it a few times. And so I know that it's helpful. But you can grab that in the stand store, as well as, y'all, if you are looking for love and you know you're in this spiral where you just keep getting these same people, the same people, the same people, get my Manifesting Love workbook and meditation. It is a bundle. It will help you so much. I created it from the heart, and it's not too big. A lot of times you get these workbooks and it's more than what you can do. But this one is perfect, and I'm loving it. So make sure that you check that out as well. It is in my stand store on Facebook. I will drop the link in the comments. On YouTube, it is in the description. So go and find it there. If you are a spiritual entrepreneur and you would like to come on Straight Out of Savannah and talk about it, reach out to me on whatever platform you are watching right now. If you're on YouTube, you can go in the description and you'll see all of the about section. You'll see all the places where I am, and you can message me on any of those spots. Facebook, you can message me here. So again, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate you. I have to go. All is well. This is Tammy signing out with the $1 Billion Voice. I am always looking for brand deals and sponsorships for my podcast. So if you are watching, I would love to have a sponsorship for a brand deal for my podcast, Straight Out of Savannah, which you can check out on any of the podcasting platforms, as well as my YouTube channel. So again, and I have an episode premiering on Friday that is going to knock your socks off. I cannot wait. It's going to be phenomenal. So make sure that you check it out. Have a good day. Love you. Bye.